Hi, my name is Heather. This is Strings and Threads. Today I'm doing a tutorial on how to do a wash or dishcloth with the Tunisian Crocheted Lattice stitch. Don't feel intimidated. This is a very beginner-friendly tutorial. If you've never Tunisian crocheted before, you can do this. I'm going to show you step by step what to do. I made this, oops, I lost a hook. I made this with a yarn that I had bought, a cotton yarn that I had bought at like some sort of dollar store, so it was not a good cotton. So it was very splitty, and I don't recommend using that kind of yarn for this. You can if you have that, but it was just a little bit more difficult to work up. And so I'm going to do the one that we're going to do together with a nicer cotton. I'm going to use this. I love this cotton. And this is a Hobby Lobby cotton, and it's very, very soft and very easy to work with. I haven't pulled the end out yet. I'll pause this and do that. So you'll need probably about a half a skein of one of these. This is 3 ounces, so maybe 1.5 ounces, I don't know. You're not going to use the whole thing. I just used about half of this. And you'll need, if you don't have a Tunisian hook, don't worry about it. You can just find your largest hook. I'm using a size I, which is a 5.5. I'm actually not going to use this because I do have Tunisian hooks, but this was just something that I thought you could probably still do it on this. You just might have to be careful that your stitches don't fall off the edge. You know, but if you've never Tunisian crocheted before and you're not sure that you want to invest in a hook, a special hook for it, you're just here to try it out. You know, don't go ahead, don't go and invest yet. You know, give it a try, see if you like it. You could also use, if you have one of these, this is also an I, or 5.5 milliliter, or milliliter, millimeter hook. And this is actually a Tunisian hook. I found this in my knitting collection, and I didn't know what it was until I learned about Tunisian crocheting. So this would work, and it's nice that it has a little stopper on the end. But what I am going to use, I have a Tunisian hook set that I bought from We Crochet, and it comes with different size rounds, but I'm not going to do anything in the round. What you can do is you can screw on one of these wires, and then you can put a little stopper at the end. So this is what I'm going to use for that. This is also, this one's harder to see, but this one's also a 5.5 millimeter I. And when I was making this one up, I started it with 27 stitches. We're actually going to go bigger. This is just a sample that I did, so I'd have something to show at the beginning of the video. But when I did them, my stitches came to about here, but they were spread out. So if you're using a smaller hook, you can get them a little bit closer and probably fit them. This stitch works up in any odd number, so if you don't want to do the same exact size that I'm doing, this is about 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And for those of you who like metric, which is almost everybody except for us, it's like 16.5 centimeters. So this isn't really very big. So if you wanted to make one that was smaller, that was about this size, I used 27 stitches for this. But I'm going to use something, and I'm going to do 43 stitches for ours. So to start, I'm going to turn this off and find the middle just in case I have a yarn barf come out, and then we'll start with the chaining. Okay, so you start, just if you're familiar with regular crochet, we're going to chain the same exact way you do there. You start with a slip knot, and since this is beginner friendly, I'm going to try to show everything. The way I do a slip knot is that I hold the end of the yarn between my thumb and my middle finger, and then I put it over my first finger and then go over it again behind. And then I take the crochet hook and go under the first loop that I put on, and then pull through the second loop. And that's how I create my slip stitch. If you need to see that again, you can go ahead and rewind. Is that still how you would say it, or go back? Okay, and then to chain, we're going to chain 43 total. You just put the yarn around the hook and let the hook pull it through your slip stitch, and that's 1. Again, you're going to put the yarn over the hook, let the hook pull up the stitch, and that's 2. I'm not going to go this slow the whole time. Yarn over and let the hook pull it through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The one bad thing about this hook is that it just keeps hitting the bottom. So that's what you're hearing. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. You want to try and keep it loose too. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Okay. So you should have 43. Again, you can do anything that's an odd number. So if you wanted to make yours bigger, you can add more as long as it ends up an odd number. Okay, so now we're going to turn the work over, and we're going to look for the bump in the back of the stitches, because we want to have this be the edging. So we're going to turn it around and find the back bump and go into the back bump. And we're going to, again, yarn over like we did before and pull it through, but leave the stitch on the hook. Find that bump again. Yarn over and then pull a loop up, but we're going to leave the loop on the hook. Pull up, leave it. You can see how the edging is going to look really nice here. I did not put anything around the edge on this, but I am going to do an edging on this one that we're doing together. This one was just a sample so you could see how the lattice stitch looks. Okay, I'm going to do a few more with you, and then I'll pause it so that we can go all the way down the row. You should end up with 43 loops on your hook. Okay, let's do a couple more. Here's the back loop. Go into that little bump there. Pull a loop up onto your hook. You can see here's the back bump. Pull a loop on and leave it there. Okay, let me show you 2 more, and then we'll pause this, finish the row, and come back, and you should end with 43 loops on here. Okay, one more. Back bump. Put your hook through. Pull up a loop. Okay, let's pause here. All right, I already off camera counted my stitches, so I know that I have 43. I do recommend, it's easy to lose track of stitches. I do recommend counting them on every forward pass. We just did a forward pass, and then next we're going to go back. When I was making this, luckily I was counting my stitches, because one of the rows, somewhere around here, I got to the end and I was one stitch short, which is really easy to do. And so I had to rip it out and then redo that row and pick up the stitch that I missed. So to go back, and it's always going to be the same for the back pass. Oops, don't take your stitches off. You don't want to deal with your tail. I'm just trying to get it out of the way. You yarn over and you pull through one. The first one that you do is always pulling through one. And then you yarn over and pull through two. And this will be for all of the rest of the stitches. You yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. I'm not doing a very good job of showing here, goodness. I think I'm just going too slow. Yarn over, pull through two. Yarn over. You get to see it in slow motion, and then what happens when it falls off. Go through two. Yarn over, go through two. We're going to do that all the way to the end. I'll do this with you just so you can keep watching, but I'm not going to say it every time. Okay, so if you're new to Tunisian crochet, we're going to be looking for these bars, and we'll always skip the first one. Okay, so you can see we're going to skip this first bar. We're going to go into, this would be crocheting together, go into the first two bars right in between. You can see how there's like a circle there. We're going to go in between, and then go in between the next one. And then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we're not done with this yet. In order to get the lattice pattern going, we need to go back into just the first one, yarn over, and then pull it up, and it gives it like a twist. You can almost see that twist here in these stitches. You can see how it makes a twist. So we'll keep going over this. I'll do this whole row with you. This is going to be the first repeat. We're going to repeat this row, do a pass back, then do another row and do a pass back, and then it's going to be repeating that over and over. So this would be the first of the repeats that we would do. So look for the next 2 bars, go in between the first one, in between the second one, and then bring a loop up, yarn over, bring a loop up, go back into the very first stitch and bring up a loop. We should end this round with 43 loops. Make sure you count because it is so easy to miss something here. Okay, go to the next 2 posts, go in between the first one, in between the second one, bring up a loop, go back into the first one, bring up another loop. Okay, oh, my yarn was being difficult, didn't want to come out. I got a little bit of yarn barf there, but it looks like it'll pull out now. Okay, look for the next 2 bars. Right here. And right here. Go into the front of the first one. Well, in between. Just go in the middle of it, go in the middle of this one, yarn over, bring up a loop, go back into the first one, bring up another loop. Okay, you can see that pattern starting. Okay, here are the next 2 bars right here. Go through, bring up a loop, go back into the first one, and bring up a loop. Here are the next 2. Bring up a loop, go back into the first one. I am going slow on purpose, so I'm sorry if you've caught on and you're moving faster than me. That's great. I just want to make sure this is very beginner friendly, so I'm going to move a little bit on the slower side just to make sure that everybody's got it. Oops, we're going to go through both, go back into the first one, and draw up another loop. Okay, I'm going to move a little bit quicker here, but I'll keep doing it in case you need to see it. I'll do this whole row with you. Okay, we're coming up to the end here. So let's see how we're going to end this. So at the very end of this row, we're just going to do a stitch through one. This is a simple stitch where you just go right in between the loop. Instead of doing two together like we have been, just go into the one, draw up a loop. And now if you look at the end of the row, we want to go right here under these two. It's going to make a nice edging if we continue to do that. If you do regular crocheting, it's just almost like you would do a regular single crochet. We're not going to actually do a single crochet, we're just going to draw up a loop. But it would be like going into a stitch as if you were going to single crochet, and you draw up one loop. I'll show you one more time where that is. You can see at the very end, we're going to go into these, under those two, and draw up a loop. And now we need to count to make sure. And hopefully I have the right number, because that would be embarrassing otherwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Okay, I do have the right amount. All right, so the next thing that we do is the return. So we're going to do it the exact same way that we did it the other time. The return is always the same. You yarn over and go through one, and then the rest is yarning over and going through two. Yarn over, go through two. I'll do a little bit more of this with you, and then I'll just have us pause and finish the return. Hopefully you've got that down by now. So just yarn over and go through two. The only time you don't go through two is the first stitch. It's going to be the same way every time we do a return. The very first one is just to go through one stitch, and that will give us the really nice spot to go in at the end to make a really nice edging. And you can see the edging on this one. It looks the same all the way around. So if we keep doing it this way, we'll get that nice edging all the way around it. I'll do this one more time with you, and then we'll pause and finish going all the way back, and then we'll come back for the next direction. There you go, I went through two. Continue this all the way down until you just have one loop on your hook. All right, the return or going forward, it's going to be very similar to what we just did, but when we did it the last time, we started the row by skipping the first one. You're always going to skip the first one. We went into two, and then we went into two. By the time we got to the end, we went into one, and then we did I'm just going to call it the single crochet thing. I don't know what it's called, the edging, the thing that makes it a nice edge. On this one, we're going to start the row by just going into one. We go right in between the first bar, and we bring up a loop. And now we start the pattern of finding the next 2 bars, go in the middle of that bar, go in the middle of the next bar, draw up a loop, go back into the first loop and draw up another loop. Okay, so we just started the row with 1. I think that's called the simple stitch, 1 simple stitch, and then we started the 2 together and then go back into the first. So let's find the next 2 bars right here and right here. We'll draw up a loop, go back into the first bar and draw up another loop. Find the next 2 bars, which are right here. Go into the first, go into the next, draw up a loop, go back into the first one, draw up another loop. Okay, now we're going to find the next 2 right here and right here. The first one will be kind of close because these are the 2 that you did together the last time, but we're doing 2 together that we didn't do 2 together with last time. So the next stitch might look kind of close. But if you could see, if you're going in between the stitches from the last round, that's correct. We're alternating. So you can see here, we have the stitches here, but the row above, the stitches are in between the stitches from the row below. So if it looks confusing to you, just, look and make sure that it's in between. Go back into the first one and draw up a loop. So here's the next bar, and then here's the next bar. Go in the middle, go in the middle, draw up a loop, go back into the first one, and draw up a loop. All right, I'm just going to keep going. I'll do this row with you so you can see a complete row, even with the end, so you can see how this one ends. But I'm going to try and move a little bit quicker here. The other thing you want to check is you're counting the loops when you get to the end. It is very, very easy to miss one. I did that on the first one. I told you about that. I missed one on the first one that I did. Okay, we're getting close to the end here, and I can feel a knot coming up. Okay, so here we go. There's 2 more bars left and then the last stitch. So we are going to go through the last 2 bars and we're going to do our pattern, bringing up a hook and then going back in the first one, bringing up a loop, not a hook. And then this last one, we're going to again go in as if we were going to single crochet. If you're a crocheter, you can understand that. Otherwise, you're just going to make sure you have the 2 loops there. And then you'll draw up a loop. Now is the counting part. Hopefully I got it right, because again, that would be so embarrassing if I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Phew, yay. Okay, and then the return, it's going to be the exact same way that we've been doing the returns. Yarn over, go through 1. The first one is the only one, you go through 1. And then you yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. And then just go all the way down with that. Now we're going to repeat that first row that I told you about, where you just start with the pattern right away by going into the 2 front bars or 2 bars and then doing that pattern, and then you end with just going into 1 bar. Then you go back, then you start with going into 1 bar and then starting the pattern all the way to the end like we just did, and then come back. You're going to repeat that until it's as big as you want it to be. Feel free to go back and watch those parts again if you need to. You're going to alternate between those 2. Coming back is always the same. It's always yarn over, go through 1, then yarn over, go through 2 until you only have 1 loop left on your hook. So we'll pause it here and give you a chance to add your rows. You can add for as long as you want to make it. So when you have it as long as you want it to be, come back and we'll talk about finishing it and putting the edging on it. We'll do the last steps. All right, I have mine the size that I want, and it is, I believe it was 9 inches by 9 inches. I'll give you the centimeters in a minute. Oh no, it's 10 by 10 by 10, just about 10. So 10 inches is about 25.5 centimeters. So that's the size I decided to go for mine. Now to finish, if you're not at the spot where you came back, then you need to pause this and go to that step. All right, so depending on where you are in the pattern will depend on whether you start with just 1 or if you start by doing 2 together. So the way that I need to start mine is with 2 together, because the last round I started with 1 and then did 2 together. So 2 together, and then this one has an extra 3rd step by adding that front bar. So we do that, and you notice there's 3 loops on there. If you started with just 1, you'll have only 2 loops on there because you didn't do that extra step of going into the front one. And then whether you have 2 or 3 on there, you're going to yarn over and then go through all 3. You can see that's going to give us a nice edging on the top. So now, whichever step you're on, we're going to do the same thing here, because you'll be at the part where you do 2 and then go into that front one and draw up the 1, yarn over, go through all 3. Okay, you can see it still makes the lattice pattern continue on. Go through 2 bars. I am going to do this whole row with you, so if this is slow, you can fast forward through this or whatever, but I want to make sure you see what we're doing. And then we're going to go right into the edging, which is just going to be simple. We're going to do a single crochet edging 2 rounds. Okay, go into the 2 bars, go into the first of those 2 bars, and then yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Two bars, go through the first bar, yarn over, go through all 3. Go through 2 bars, pull through, go into the first bar. There's something, I did some painting. We're painting our basement, so sorry if I flexo paint. I'm also not fancy in doing my nails. I notice some people have their nails beautifully done to do their tutorials, and I am such a slob, so I apologize for that. Maybe sometime I'll paint my nails or something when I'm not doing so much work around the house. It just isn't feasible for me to do the other work that I need to do and have pretty nails. Go through both, draw up a loop, go through the front one, draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3. All right, I'm going to move a little bit quicker here. I'm not going to make the video go fast, but I'm not going to give a full explanation for every stitch anymore, because hopefully you got it by now. And if you didn't, you can always go back and rewatch. Sorry if you hear random noises. I have a yarn room in our 4th bedroom, which is right near where my 2 boys have their bedrooms, and both of them are in there right now. And I don't know if it's just my teenage boys or if it's a, whoops, I went too far. I need to go through this. I don't know if it's just my teenage boys or if it's just a teenage boy thing, but they just have to make a noise at every minute of the day. So if they're not talking, if they're not yelling, they're humming, they're making weird random noises, and I can hear them in the background right now. I don't know if it's showing up in the video or not, but I can hear them. And perhaps one day when they're gone, I'll miss it, but to tell you the truth, sometimes just a little bit of quiet is very therapeutic for me, because I don't get that. All right, we're getting towards the end here. So if you needed to do 2 at the end, do your 2 at the end and go through all 3 loops like we have been doing. But I'm ending with the 1 here. So I'm going through the 1, drawing up a loop, and then going through the 2 loops. And now you do this last stitch the same way we have been, kind of like a single crochet, draw up a loop. And so now if you look, we have a super nice edging along every side of this. And if you're a crocheter, if you're not a crocheter, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. But if you're a crocheter and you know a single crochet, this is going to be a breeze for you. So this is the way that we just finished it this way. I'm going to turn it clockwise this way, and then chain 1, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into this really nice edging along this whole side. And I'm sorry, I didn't explain a single crochet, but I'll show you again, and I'll show it slow just so that you can have the idea. So we're going to go right into that really nice edging here that we created, yarn over, pull up a loop, but now instead of keeping the loops on, we're going to yarn over again and go through the 2 loops. It's very similar to how we finished the top part. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops. I'll show you 2 more times, and then I'm going to pause until I get to the corner, and then I'll show you what to do with the corner. So here's 2 more to show you before the corner. Go into the nice edging, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both. Go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both loops. Okay, I'm going to go to the corner and then come back. You do the same. All right, I've made it to the corner. Once I show you this corner, you can finish going all the way around because it will be the same for every corner. You're going to do 3 single crochets in each corner and then 1 single crochet in each of these really nice edging stitches. You'll get to the next corner, put 3 in this one, and then go along each of the nice edging stitches. So what we'll do is we'll go into that first stitch of the next row. I have the tail there, and I'm going to just crochet it in because I can't deal with tails. I hate them. All right, so again, we're going to single crochet, you yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. So that's 1 in that corner stitch. I'm going to do 2 in that corner stitch, and then 3 in that corner stitch, and then now I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these nice edging stitches. So I'm going to finish going all the way around, and then honestly I don't think I want to do a second row. You can, but I was just looking at how pretty that looks without the second row. So I'm going to just finish up that and then finish off and then call it a day. If you'd like to do another one, you can do the same thing. I would just suggest in the stitch that looks like it's mostly in the corner, you would put 2 or 3 single crochets in to give the corner a nice edging for the second row. I'm going to finish going around and come back. All right, I came almost all the way around. I just wanted to show you how to finish it up. So this is the very end of the last quarter of this. Oh my goodness. So in the last stitch in this row, since we didn't do a triple stitch in this row, the last stitch of this row, we're going to do 3 stitches. So here's the last stitch in the row. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet that I did in the edging. Pull through. All right, then I'm going to cut a little bit here. Pull it through. Pull it tight, and then weave the ends in. I'm going to do that off camera. I hope that you like this tutorial. I hope that it was a good beginner friendly. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I have lots of video tutorials. I've got lots of projects in my mind that I want to put up. So hopefully there'll be a lot to watch on this channel. Have a great day. Bye.